It's the end of the month. I'm making $60,000 a year. On paper, I'm doing fine, but my bank account tells a different story. Rent is due. The credit card balance didn't move. Savings barely budged. For a long time, I assumed that meant I was bad with money, that I was missing something obvious, spending wrong, budgeting wrong, but that wasn't it. The uncomfortable truth was this: I wasn't being irresponsible, and I was being misled by the number on my paycheck. Because once I accounted for the invisible costs of earning that $60,000, the math changed. I wasn't living on 60. I was living on something much closer to 20. The salary illusion. I used to think salary meant safety. If the number was big enough, I assumed everything would work itself out. 60,000 a year sounded fine, respectable. On paper, I was doing what I was supposed to do. But every month felt the same. Tight, stressful, no momentum. That's when I realized I was making a rookie mistake. I was looking at income the way amateurs look at business. Revenue only, no expenses. Because earning money isn't free. Before I touched a dollar, taxes took a chunk. Then came the cost that only existed because I had the job. The commute, the car, the clothes, the lunches I bought because I was too drained to plan ahead. That's when it clicked. I wasn't just earning a salary, I was running a business where I was the product. And the margins were terrible. The money that never reaches you. Once I stopped staring at the headline number, the first cut became obvious. Taxes. That $60,000 didn't belong to me. Federal tax, state tax, payroll deductions. Before I spent a dollar, the number quietly shrank. But that wasn't the part that surprised me. I expected taxes. What caught me off guard were the expenses that existed only because I worked. I wasn't paying for convenience. I was paying for access to my paycheck. The commute alone cost more than I wanted to admit. Gas, insurance, wear on a car I wouldn't need otherwise. Then came the clothes. Office acceptable, not cheap. Lunches grabbed between meetings because going home wasn't an option. None of this shows up on a pay stub, but every dollar counts. When I added it up, I wasn't living on 60,000. I was starting closer to 40. And the math was just getting started. The time you're actually selling. Here's the part that hit me hardest. Income isn't just money divided by hours worked. It's money divided by all the time the job takes from your life. My job said 40 hours a week. That wasn't true. The day started before I clocked in. Getting ready, getting out the door, getting mentally switched on, then the commute. Unpaid, but mandatory. Lunch didn't count as work on paper, but I couldn't go home. I couldn't rest. I was still trapped near the office. Then there was the time after work. The mental fog, the decompression, the conversations about work that followed me home. When I finally counted it honestly, I wasn't giving my job 40 hours. I was giving it 55, sometimes 60. That's when the real wage started collapsing, and I hadn't even touched spending yet. When the math finally breaks. This is where everything snapped into focus for me. Once I stopped pretending it was a 40-hour job, the math got ugly fast. I took what was left after taxes and work expenses. Then I divided it by the real hours I was giving up. The number shocked me. That 60,000 salary had already fallen closer to 40 after basic costs. Now divide that by nearly 3,000 hours a year, not 2,000. 3. Suddenly, I wasn't making $30 an hour. I was closer to 12. Some months less. That's when it hit me. A raise wouldn't fix this. Working harder wouldn't fix this. I wasn't underpaid, I was inefficient. On paper, I looked successful. In reality, I was trading time, energy, and freedom at a discount. And once you see that number, you can't unsee it. Spending that pretends to be normal. Here's the part no one wants to admit. A lot of spending isn't about enjoyment, it's about recovery. After long days, I wasn't buying things because I wanted them. I was buying relief. Takeout because I was exhausted. Coffee because I couldn't focus. Drinks on Friday to take the edge off. Random purchases just to feel something other than drained. None of this felt reckless. It felt normal, earned even. But every one of those expenses existed because of the job. They weren't lifestyle choices, they were coping mechanisms. Once I labeled it that way, everything changed. This wasn't poor discipline, it was decompression spending, and it quietly finished the job the math started. This is how a $60,000 salary turns into a $20,000 life. Not all at once, slowly, invisibly. Why more money often makes it worse. This is where people expect the story to turn around. Adam, more income should fix the problem. That's what I thought too. Then I watched what actually happened. The raise came with longer hours, more responsibility, and more stress, which meant more spending. Nicer clothes because expectations changed. More takeout because nights got later. A better car because the commute felt unbearable. A bigger apartment because I deserved it. The paycheck went up, but so did the costs attached to earning it. When I ran the numbers again, my real hourly pay didn't increase. It dropped. That's the trap. Promotions often increase revenue while destroying margins. You process more money through your account. You keep less of it, and you give up more of your life in the process. That's how people climb the ladder and feel poorer at the top. The metric that actually matters. The mistake I made was chasing income. The fix was changing the metric. Once I stopped asking, how do I make more? And started asking, how much does my job cost me? Everything shifted. I stopped caring about salary. I started caring about efficiency. Could I reduce commuting time? Could I cut expenses that only existed because I worked? Could I protect my energy instead of selling all of it? Every dollar I didn't spend to earn my paycheck acted like a raise. Every hour I got back increased my real income. That's the quiet advantage most people miss. Like, you don't need a bigger number. You need a better equation. Because freedom doesn't come from gross pay. It comes from margin. And most people never calculate theirs. The one exercise that changes how you spend. This is the exercise that finally made it real for me. I took my actual take-home pay, not the salary number, the money that landed in my account. Then I wrote down every hour the job demanded. Commute, prep time, worrying, decompression, anything that existed because of work counted. When I divided the two, I got my real hourly wage, and it was uncomfortable. From that point on, prices stopped looking the same. A $120 purchase wasn't just $120. It was 10 hours of my life. 10 hours of emails, traffic, meetings that went nowhere. That simple translation did more than any budget ever had. It created friction. I stopped asking, can I afford this? And started asking, is this worth my time? Most things failed that test immediately. The question that won't leave you alone. Here's the part that lingers. Once you know your real hourly wage, you can't unknow it. It follows you into stores, into online checkouts, into conversations about treating yourself. Because now every price has a second tag attached to it. Time, energy, life. The system works best when you never run this math. When you stay focused on gross numbers. When you assume feeling broke is a personal failure instead of a structural one. A $60,000 salary isn't small, but without margin, it's fragile. And most people are one bad month away from realizing that. So the real question isn't how much you make. It's how much of your life you're trading to make it. And once you start asking that, some jobs stop making sense very quickly.